Hello, this is Gary at Jack Raven Bushcraft. This week I want to talk about lighting a fire with wire wool and a battery, so I hope you enjoy. Lighting a fire with wire wool and battery, it's an often discussed ignition method. It's one of those that I kind of put into the how practical is it kind of category. And I say that for probably two main reasons. One is that the chances of you having wire wool in the first place with you, and lots of people do carry wire wool with them, and there are some good reasons for that, I guess. So if you're looking at carrying some man-made tinders with you, then wire wool, it's going to ignite not just with a battery, but you can get this to light with a traditional flinted steel. You can get it to work with a fire steel ferro rod, that kind of thing. It might be that you have some of this with you just so that you could clean your pot as you're on the trail. So you may have some of this with you. The other thing, I guess, is around batteries. And so years ago, very many years ago, when I was a youngster, I used to spend a lot of time on Dartmoor hiking and staying out, kind of 4 or 5 days at a time. And back then, everything was big, sort of battery wise. So my torch literally had a battery the size of this box. And there I would be walking across Dartmoor in my yellow oilskins with an external frame, rucksack, all of that kind of stuff, and a great big torch. Now, these days, of course, mostly people are carrying head torches, and generally speaking, they have a AAA battery in. And a AAA battery doesn't have enough current for this kind of thing to work. And so for a while I just kind of put this one to one side and thought, yeah, not entirely practical. But I think there's been some changes over the years actually that have meant that people are kind of starting to use at least bigger batteries in some cases. So for instance, actually my own torch, so I've got a hand torch as well as a head torch. This one's a green torch, but it has inside it these CR123 batteries, and these do have enough current. So this is a 3.7 volt, a 3 volt battery, and these do have enough current to ignite a bit of wire wool. And quite often cameras, which again I kind of am entirely aware here that cameras are often being replaced by phones, but some people do still carry a camera around. Some cameras do have that same CR123 battery in. Some cameras have a battery that looks a little more like this. This one actually came out of a mobile phone, however, so some cameras do have a battery similar to this, but this is from an old Nokia. So this is a 3.7 volt battery. So it was my old phone that I kept it going for years and years. It was one of those that only did phone calls and texts, but the battery lasted kind of 3 weeks on it. So it was ideal for being outdoors. Most smartphones these days, however, don't have a battery that you can kind of readily get out without smashing the phone open first. And I think very carefully about doing that one. Vapes, it's another one. So lots of people these days are vaping. Vapes have a fairly sizable battery in it, and again they have enough current to be able to make this work. Typically what I'll do to demonstrate the technique is use a 9 volt battery, which somewhat ironically actually the only place I use a 9 volt battery is in my smoke detector at home. But yeah, it kind of works in terms of demonstrating. Now, when I'm working with groups, I take great caution to make sure that the battery and the wire wool don't come into contact with each other. And so just a kind of a little cautionary note there. If, like me, you have a drawer in the kitchen where you know, all those bits and pieces that don't have a home anywhere else. If you've got one of those, just make sure that you put your batteries in a little box, something like this, so that you don't have any unexpected or unwanted ignitions going on in the house. So with the wire wool, what I'll do is just sort of tease it apart a little bit, like so, and pick up the battery. It's going to hold it out in front of me here, and like so, and then it's just a case of touching the bottom of the wire wool and off it goes as quick as that. So it's quite spectacular, looks great. The wire wool, so you're only going to be able to use it once it's been burnt, that's it. So it's a one-shot deal. Slightly interesting scientific fact, it now weighs more than it did before we burnt it. So there's a carbon molecule now has attached itself to each of the oxygen molecules on the wire wool, so it does weigh more. So as spectacular as that may have looked, we didn't actually get a fire from it, of course. So we just need to do a little bit of extra work to get a fire out of it. So what I do here, or to get a flame from it, so what I often do is get my wire wool, stretch it apart again, exactly the same as I did previously. And then I'm just going to get a piece of cotton wool, and again, this is just for the ease of demonstration, essentially just a little bit of cotton wool. What I'm going to do is fluff that apart as well. And then I'm going to wrap my wire wool around the cotton wool like so. So I've kind of got a bit of an ice cream cornet kind of affair going on here now. And so I can light the wire wool, put it on the ground and blow on that, and now our cotton wool is also alight, and I can use the flame from the cotton wool there now to build my fire around, so maybe a little bit more tinder on the top and then on my first stage of kindling. So let me just extinguish that again. As I said there guys, for me I'm not convinced on it being entirely practical, and it certainly wouldn't be one of the 3 methods of fire lighting or 3 methods of ignition that I'm likely to carry with me on a regular basis. But of course within bushcraft, knowledge is king. The more you know, the more options you'll have in any given scenario, the more likely it will be that you can light a fire in any given scenario. So knowing this is still good, it's useful information. So take it on board, have a little practice with it, and think about whether it's something you want to add into your own fire lighting kit. So I hope that's useful to you. Watch out on our blog and our YouTube channel, we'll be getting more content out next week. In the meantime, stay safe, take care.